For more on how the President's State of the Union could impact key areas of the market, let's bring in former U.S. Senior Treasury official Kim Wallace. He is now the managing director of the Eurasia Group. Kim, it is great to see you, especially on this night. We want to do a little rapid fire of the key issues that could be addressed. We start off with trade. What are you expecting? Are you expecting any encouraging words, any revealing of the cards that he's got in front of him?
I don't expect revealing of the cards, but I do expect optimism from the president, both because there's a conversation being held within the administration as to what they want to do and when they want to do it on trade with China, but also because, as has been stated on your panel, there are a lot of people hoping for optimism when it comes to trade because that's what most people in the markets are paying attention to. My view is that this is a much longer conversation, that the competition between China and the U.S. is multi-pronged and will not be resolved easily, and that all of those elements will impinge on trade talks. You could see conclusion of trade talks around transactional numbers of China buy that don't do anything to resolve the underlying differences on tech transfer, on the way that business is run in China, and more importantly, adherence to WTO rules. I also have to add that I am no longer with the Eurasia Group.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for your update, Kim, and thanks so much for joining us, even though you're not with them. I wanted to get to a point that our White House reporter, Eamon Javers, was making just a short time ago, and that is that he didn't think that there really was any hope for bipartisanship given the 2020 elections around the corner, and that the Dems are not looking to give President Trump any sort of wins. I wanted to know what your take on that was in the context of infrastructure and drug pricing, because those seem like issues that could be construed as a win for either side.
I tend to favor Eamon's view of this, as dark as it is, in large part because the work that they have to do this year on Capitol Hill is fiscal, and it starts in 10 days. It continues into debt limit, as you all have been talking about in the spring, and then it goes into the back end of the beginning of the fiscal year, October 1. The history for the past 10 years has not been constructive, certainly not optimistic when it comes to those negotiations. So I think how fiscal goes this year is how the year is going to go. On the issues that you raise, infrastructure spending is a favorite of everyone in all parties. My sense is that there's a better chance for an infrastructure deal in a countercyclical program, whether that's this year, next year, or 2021. And on health care, that's something near and dear to most voters' hearts. I think both Republicans and Democrats understand the power of remaining on the right side of voters when it comes to health care. And so what we saw in terms of the administration announcing that it was going to attempt to reduce drug prices by affecting people who sell drugs in between the transactions, look for more of that adjustment. I don't look for a big legislative agreement between Republicans and Democrats on what to do about health care policy going forward.
All right, Kim, thank you so much for your thoughts. We appreciate it. Kim Wallace in Washington, D.C. for us. Mark, I want to go to you. We were talking about drug pricing. You've liked health care. Do you think this is going to be an issue, especially as we have Senate Finance Committee hearings in a couple weeks and a lot of the CEOs are going to be there?
Yeah, on a short-term basis, I do think it could potentially be an issue and cap some of these prices. But when we look at a more secular trend in diabetes management, cancer management, I do think a lot of the companies that we're focusing on are still going to be very good plays over the course of the next few years.
Your top picks?
My top picks right now?
Healthcare, yeah.
Oh, and healthcare, I still love Merck. I still think there's plenty of upside there. I own Pfizer as well. And I think some of these biotechs, they're going to start to turn pretty soon because they got to start spending that cash.